Hello students! Today's lesson is a continuation of hand technique. We're going back to basics, really focusing on grips and a few beginner exercises. Those exercises are going to be chicken and a roll, 16th note timing, and we're going to finish up the second half of stick control. Excuse me. Alright, so chicken and a roll. To play that, we need to set a metronome at about 90. We'll put the eighth notes on and we'll keep it in 4/4. Alright, so that's our metronome going. And the way this is structured is we have 2 beats of eighth notes, 1 and 2 and, followed by 2 beats of 16th notes, 3E and a 4E and a. We repeat that measure, 1 and 2 and 3E and a 4E and a. And then we have a full bar of 8 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, followed by a full bar of 16th notes, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So, all played together, we'll play it like this. Here's the metronome. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Two, again, and go. So the structure that we have right now is we're playing right hand lead, which is all the downbeats and upbeats, basically all the eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3E and a 4E and a 1 and 2 and 3E and a 4E and a. All those are in the right hand, are going to stay in the right hand. Let's take it one more time. Let's slow it down a bit. Let's go down to 72. 1, 2, ready, and go. In. Alright, so notice I'm using a full extension and I'm creating some space in the back of my hand. Whoa, that was a little too much. Really relaxed, really loose grip. This is all about so you can really feel the stick rebounding. We don't want to play stiff. We want to play really relaxed, and we can get the same volume, and we don't have to expend as much energy. So, what I want you to think about is exactly the same as dribbling a ball. We throw the ball down, we let it bounce, and we just kind of catch it as it comes back up. We don't control the ball all the way from here to the ground and then back up. That just takes way too much energy. It's really stiff and it'd be weird because that's kind of what doing too stiff of a motion on the drum is you're trying to dribble the ball while holding it the entire way up and down. You want to throw the stick just like you would dribble a ball. And we just anticipate when we're going to hit the drum pad and loosen the back of the hand so the fingers can be pushed away by the stick. And we also want to track it with our wrist. We want to anticipate what that rebound is going to be like and just follow it back up. And basically, we don't need to get super technical with the physics of it, but as fast as you put that stick down, as fast as you accelerate that stick to the drum pad, that's how fast the stick's going to accelerate back out. Of course, a tiny bit of energy is going to be wasted, but they're pretty much the same speed. So the acceleration that you have going down to the drum should be the same rate reversed for decelerating away from the drum. So we start here, we speed up, speed up, speed up, go our fastest about here. We hit the pad, we relax the hand, let the fingers come away, let the wrist track the stick back up, and we're decelerating. We're going our fastest here and decelerating all the way back up to the top of the stroke. So we're fast, 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 starting to slow down, and then slowest up here. So let's go back to 90 for chicken and a roll. Play along. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's do it off the left hand now. So it's going to start with the left hand, playing all the ones, ands, twos, ands, threes, ands, fours, ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, ready, go. 2, again, go. 2, last time, and go. 'Excuse me. All right, let's bump it up. We're gonna go to 10. Let's do 104. Now, anytime we're practicing with the metronome, I really want you to make sure that you're focusing on how fast that metronome is going. Don't just turn it on and try to play along with it. Turn it on, internalize the beat, and we internalize the beat by counting along with the metronome. So when I turn this metronome on, I'm usually waiting about 2 bars before I start playing. The first bar after I turn it on, I'm listening to the rate of speed it's going. The second bar that it's playing, I'm counting in my head right along with the metronome. That's to make sure that I know exactly how fast I need to go. So, here's what happens. We turn the metronome on, we listen for a bar, then in the second bar we should know roughly how fast it's going, and in the second bar that it's on, we need to be counting in our head. That way we know how fast to go, how fast to start moving our hands. Then in the third bar is when we start playing. 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, left hand lead. 2, again, left hand. 2, last time, and go. 2, tempo up again. Let's go to 116. So, what are we going to do when we turn the metronome on? We're going to listen to it, then we're going to start counting along, and then the third bar is when we start playing. Get set. 1 and 2 and ready, go. And you can go ahead and start, the faster you go and the more comfortable you get with this exercise, you can go ahead and start repeating the whole exercise more and more times through, just to get more of an endurance and start playing. Get like into the real groove of it. Here we go again. We're going to do it left hand lead 2 times through. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Two again, go. 2 times through. Let's do it 4 times through. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. This exercise is all about playing with one hand and knowing when to drop that other hand in. Because if we can play 8 on a hand at this speed, or even double stops at this speed, we should be able to play 16th notes very comfortably. It's the same technique. The only thing is, we're splitting the space in between one of the hands with the other hand. So it's kind of like a game of double dutch. Those beats are going, and you just have to know when to jump the other hand in there at the right time. That's what this exercise is all about. It's about understanding how to alternate between the hands, but also how to know exactly how to time it when that other hand needs to jump in. All right, let's start talking about 16th note timing. Actually, I'm going to turn the metronome down a little bit more. So, 16th note timing is an alternating exercise. It obviously deals with 16th notes, and it helps teach us the 4 basic patterns of how you group 3 16th notes out of a beat. Typically, a 16th note, or a group of 16th notes, when we think of that, we want to think of a whole beat. So a quarter note, 1/4, has 4 16th notes, 1/16, because 4/16 equals 1/4. So a beat is here. One, 2, 3, 4. Each one of those beats is then subdivided into 4 parts. And we label all those parts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Those all stay the same. We know that the upbeat 8th note is the and, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So for the other 2 16th notes, the upbeat 16th notes, we call those E's and U's. So the first one's going to be a number, 1. The second one is called E. The third one's called the and then the fourth one is called So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E So if we want to take just one of those notes away, there's 4 different ways we can organize playing 3/16 notes and resting on one of them. The first pattern, we're going to take the last 16th note away. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Excuse me. Got the hiccups. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. All right? So if we were to play that, let's put a check pattern. And if you remember from stick control, a check pattern is just a full bar of 16th notes. We'll put the check pattern first, then play the bar of the first rhythm pattern, 1 E and. They'll sound like this. 1, 2, ready, and. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. End with a tap. All right, try that again. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, 1. All right? The second pattern, sort of like this pattern but reversed. We're going to start on the downbeat, take the E out of the picture, and just play and following it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, again, and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Last time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's put a check pattern in front of it. 1, 2, ready, and. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Try again. 2, ready, and. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. The third pattern is going to be the first 2 16th notes, the 1 E. We take the and out of the picture and finish up with the 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1. 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1, 2. Again, last time. 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1. So, put a check pattern in front of it. 1, 2, ready, and. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E, 3 E, 4 E and 1. One more time. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E, 3 E and 4 E and 1. The last pattern, the fourth pattern, we're going to start with the rest. We're going to take away all the downbeats and just play E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and E and 1, 2, again and go. And 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1, 2, last time and go. And 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Put a check pattern in front of it. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 2. Again and go. And 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1, 2, last time and go. And 2, 3, 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. So with this, We want to make sure that just because we're resting or we're taking one of those notes out of the rhythm, just because we're doing that doesn't mean we're not necessarily paying attention to it. Especially when we get into the third and the fourth pattern, where we start taking away beats that are closer related to the downbeat. Meaning, the first pattern just takes away the so it's not too different there. Just we start with the first three beats and then rest. Pretty simple. The second pattern takes away the E. It's basically the same thing, but it does kind of make you have to understand that you're starting with just 1/8 note and then following it by 2/16 notes. The third one does give some students some trouble. That's because we're starting to take away a more foundational part of the beat. We're taking away the upbeat, which is like the direct halfway point of the beat. If we take that away, it starts to feel a little shaky. We're taking away more of the foundation. Then in the fourth pattern, we take away the basic foundation, the actual downbeat of it. This is where it gets really shaky if you're not actually feeling where that beat is. You have to feel the rest just as strong as you feel the rhythms that you play as well. That's something a lot of students don't seem to understand. Again, it's an old adage. It's not about the notes you play, it's about the notes you don't play. It kind of sounds a little bit like too heady and too ooh, but it's really, the notes matter just as much as the rest. It's not just what we play, it's what we don't play as well. We have to treat both with the same attention and make sure they both get their same value. All right, we'll start to piece this exercise together. I have my metronome set at 80. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a go. And so that's the whole piece together. We play a check pattern, we play the first pattern, 1 E and. Go back to a check pattern, play the second pattern, 1 and a. We play the check pattern for the third, then we go to the third pattern, which is 1 E a. We play a check pattern, then we go to the last pattern, which is E and a. Now let's talk about the phrasing of this. I want you to think about the direction these beats, these patterns go, and relate that direction to the beat. So if we have the beat here, that first pattern starts at the beat and goes on. So I like to think of that as it's going away from the beat, or it's coming from the beat. We start at the beat and then we leave and we go somewhere and we stop. So we come from the beat or we go away from the beat. The second pattern we go to the beat. We start on the beat, we kind of left it with the rest, and then we go back to it. So this rhythm leads to the beat or goes to the beat. Or playing to the beat. Coming from the beat. And going to the beat. We want to make sure we give that direction. We either kind of decrescendo when we're coming from the beat, or we crescendo when we're going to the beat. It doesn't always have to be played like that. Sometimes it is good to play it as flatly as you can, just to make sure that you're using the exact same technique between hands. But music is music. We don't want to play it just like a robot. We don't want to sound like a drum machine. We want to have some nuance. We want to have some art. We want to have direction and phrasing and like some actual human touch to it. We're able to put emotion and drive and just all those other fancy words you can think of to describe it, like some real direction, some real push, some pull, all this tension and relaxation we can create just by changing the dynamics and the phrasing of these patterns. So again, beat pattern 1, 1E and comes from the beat. Pattern 2, 1 and a, goes to the beat. Pattern 3 plays around the beat. We have the beat here, and we kind of bookend it on either side with the 16th note that comes right before it and the 16th note that comes right after it. Alright, then in the fourth pattern, we play all the insides of the pattern, or the insides of the beat. We leave the beat out of it, we just play what's inside, the subdivisions inside. And usually the phrasing I like to have with that is like a little bit of a crescendo, just like to give it some tension, some rising action. Some extra direction. This one can be phrased either way. We can play it from the beat or go to the beat. Either way. So let's play 16 note timing all the way through, and let's set the metronome at 96. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and oops. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Two again and go. Always try to play musically. Always try to play like a human. Don't try to sound like a drum machine. All right, so what we're gonna finish up this exercise with is the last patterns of stick control. Before, just to review, the patterns we went over were doubles, tap doubles, paradiddles, inward paradiddles, reverse paradiddles, outward paradiddles. All right, take a second, and if you want, you can rewind this just to review those over just more. Really get familiar with them. Now, what we're going to do is the rest of these patterns, we're going to focus on triple strokes and quad strokes. So, the first pattern is going to be right, 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 left, right, 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 left, right, 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 left, right, 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 left. And 2 and 3 and 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 again and go. And I screwed up, try it again, and okay, we'll put a check pattern in front of that. And play it 4 times. Third time. The next pattern, we're going to put triple strokes in the left hand, but we're going to play the downbeat in the right. So that's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Put a checking pattern in front of it. 1, 2, ready, go. Now, the last pattern is just going to be 4 in the right hand, 4 in the left hand, 4 in the right hand, 4 in the left hand. Quad strokes. Okay, now, here's the thing. All these patterns have started with the right hand. Their checking pattern started with the right hand, and the doubles, tap doubles, paradiddles, all those inversions and the different triple strokes we just did, all that started with the right hand on the downbeat. We also need to practice these with the left hand on the downbeat. So, here, for the last bit of this exercise, or this lesson, let's go through all of stick control. We'll play each pattern twice, and we'll play it with the right hand all the way down, and we'll try to play it with the left hand all the way down. Let's go at, let's go at 84. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and a go E and a. Tap doubles now. Paradiddles. Inward paradiddles. Triple strokes starting on the downbeat. Triple strokes after the downbeat. Quads. Okay, let's do the same thing, start it on the left hand. Why don't we bump the tempo up just 4 clicks? Let's go to 88. 1, 2, ready, and go. Tap doubles now. Paradiddles. If you make a mistake, keep going. Inward paradiddles. Reverse paradiddles. Outward paradiddles. Triple strokes, starting on the downbeat. Let's take that one again. Same thing. Move on, triple strokes inside the beat. Good. Quads. Okay, so this is all about gaining some endurance and gaining consistency. Stick control. That's what it's all about. You play for a long period of time and you want to make sure that your fingers are still on the stick the same way that you started with. You don't want that fulcrum to change. You don't want that thumb to be slipping down or kind of gripping up. You don't want that first finger to be curling under the stick. You don't want your back 3 fingers to kind of start falling away from the stick. All that stuff. Thumb in line with the stick. First finger, first knuckle, opposite side of that. Back 3 fingers wrap around. The stick exits between the pinky knuckle and the wrist, and there's just a little bit hanging out there. And you want to make sure that this grip that you start with is the grip that you end up with. I think that's it for today. We're going to follow up with this lesson on Tuesday and do some more alternating exercises and also start introducing the idea of triplets, subdividing the beat into 3 rather than in either 2 or 4. I'll see you on Tuesday. Happy practicing!